Thank you, Ian, for that warm welcome. I'd like to welcome you all to this year's Africa InsurTech Forum. I'm hopeful that the content that we share today is going to be of benefit to your organizations, and you're going to move forward with more energy in as far as your innovation is concerned, and moving forward with security in mind. The topic today, securing the ever-expanding attack surface. This stems from our understanding of businesses today and the fact that the more we innovate, the more our organizations expose themselves to attacks from all over the place. Different attack vectors, different attack agents are exploiting the fact that we are innovating and we are pushing our businesses forward. So what happens is, for every innovation that we push, the attackers and the bad actors take advantage and are looking to jump in and disrupt our businesses. That's the reason why we decided to bring this out in this discussion today and see how we can help the insurance sector today move forward again with this innovation while taking into consideration all the threats that they may be exposed to and be able to mitigate that in an appropriate way. So, like I said, innovation and disruption is key. We cannot move our businesses forward without some form of innovation, some form of disruption, some form of changing the way in which we operate. Whether it's mobile transactions, whether it's online transactions, whether it's the web, whether it's email, we are doing all this in a bid to push our organizations forward, in a bid to push our businesses forward, and be more profitable or be effective in the way we deliver services today. So, that said, as Team Fortinet, we have come up with the security fabric as a means to protect you across all areas where we believe attacks could possibly come and compromise your business. So we are calling that the security fabric, and what it gives you is broad, integrated, and automated security. Because number one, we appreciate, like we said, the attack vectors are ever expanding, so we need something that is going to cover that attack surface comprehensively. We also need something that's going to be integrated. In other words, you don't have silos cutting across your security profiles to try and secure your organizations and basically not having the synergies that are required for you to move forward. And then there has to be an element of automation, meaning you as the day-to-day operators of the business, of the IT organizations, you do not want manual interventions. You do not want manual interactions with threat vectors and all those kind of things. You want all this to be automated, and you want this to be seamless and simple for you as a business. So the answer that we're providing today is the security fabric, and we shall dive a bit more into that as we go. So the security fabric, as we have mentioned, enables this transformation and this innovation, and we have broken this down into four key pillars. Number one, the zero trust. Number two, the security-driven networking, the dynamic cloud, and the AI-driven operations. So the reason for that is, again, these all work hand in hand together, and anyone who has a Fortinet security solution will see from the slides that follow how you can transition from just having one product, maybe something protecting your perimeter, into having something that basically expands and protects you across the entire attack surface, like we're trying to pretty much get our businesses to, right? So, yes, let's start off with the security-driven networking. So, most of us, like I mentioned, who have interacted with the Fortinet solutions have probably touched on the FortiGate solution. So this is our perimeter security appliance, and we're focusing mainly on the network aspects of the business. So protecting anyone trying to get into the network from the outside world, right? And we have the complementary switches and access points and extenders that simply plug into this network aspect in as far as security is concerned and protecting your infrastructure. Right? So this is one of our strong pillars. This is our beginning point. And I always encourage anyone who's struggling to start off with a security journey to pretty much look to where they're having the most risk. And if you're interfacing with the internet, if you're interfacing with the outside world, you need to be able to secure your perimeter. And that's the start of your fabric journey and your bid to secure your day-to-day operations. So in addition to that, we have the AI-driven operations. So this also comes from an appreciation that you may implement certain controls in your organization, but without the ability for you to have visibility and monitor and control what is happening within your organization. You're simply much, like someone who has deployed, a perimeter fence and is not able to see how many times bad actors are trying to break into that fence, so they can know whether to reinforce that fence or to leave it as is. So what we're saying is, have the ability to consistently monitor your infrastructure. And some of the solutions that come top of mind, the FortiSIM is one of them, where you have the system information and event management, the FortiAnalyzer for management of the firewalls, logs, and analytics, and so on and so forth. The sandbox as well, for anything that you do not have, for zero-day type attacks, for anything that you do not know, that your IPS and intrusion prevention is not able to let you know whether it is good or bad, right? So these kind of solutions, again, we are looking at end-to-end visibility, right? The ability for you to know what is happening across your entire portfolio. So this is the beginning of just having that intelligence and that understanding of what is happening in your environment, and being able to mitigate intelligently, and being able to push back against the kind of things that are happening in your network, right? So having the controls is not enough. Being able to monitor and have an understanding of what is happening within these particular controls is the next level in as far as the attack surface is concerned, right? So this is pretty much just the AI-powered security operations in a nutshell, right? And there are components inside here that I would want us to do a deep dive on, depending on your particular pain points. But right now, I think the intention is just to give you a quick overview, and I'll probably maybe on a one-on-one be able to dive deep into each one of these sections, right? So now we have talked about the security-driven networking. We've talked about the visibility and understanding of what's happening in your infrastructure. The question I ask is, how do you securely grant access to your infrastructure, to your network, to parties, maybe say contractors or maybe guests, and all these kind of things. People who, or maybe roaming users, people who have traveled outside the country and need to be able to access your infrastructure for maybe their day-to-day operations. Work from home has come in a big way, and we are trying to figure out how we can get people to securely access the network or the infrastructure in a secure way, basically, without compromising your day-to-day operations and your organization, right? So we have come up with the zero trust platforms that allow you to have controlled access to your infrastructure. So whether it is for guests or people who are just walking in, and you've seen, across most of the organizations, as part of a bid and reflecting on things like customer service and so on and so forth, we are trying to make sure, even when someone walks into your building, they have access to things like Wi-Fi, because you want to give them that experience, and maybe they can even go ahead and do some self-service activities before they get access to maybe the people they've gone to see in the building, right? So we are trying to make sure that kind of innovation, that kind of push, has security in mind. So the Forti Authenticator, the network admission and control, the Forti Client, these are platforms that are supposed to allow secure connectivity. VPN, people keep talking about VPN, and again, that word can seem a bit complex sometimes, but it's as simple as granting secure access to my infrastructure. If I want to access so-and-so's organization as a contractor, I'm not going to just simply, ask for uncontrolled access. This is the ability for us to be able to say, come into my organization, but only access 1 or 2, 3 servers, 1 or 2, 3, critical devices, and so on and so forth, right? So that is the zero trust access, and it simply, again, plugs into the existing security-driven networking and also the AI-driven operations, right? So the next area of focus in as far as our security fabric is concerned is the dynamic cloud. And it's important for us to highlight that whether you're doing private or public cloud, there must be a focus on security in these aspects, right? So again, the innovation that we're doing is allowing us to go into public cloud, allowing us to say, okay, maybe we're going to do some web applications or, mobile applications and so on and so forth. And these are going to sit either in your private or public cloud, right? But when you do that, that is an opening for attackers. That is an opening for people who are trying to compromise and disrupt your business. Remember, the disruption can come in so many ways. It can come in, someone just basically denying service to your customers, or someone actually coming in and stealing critical information from your infrastructure. There are so many variations. Someone can even come and corrupt some files or corrupt some servers and demand things like ransomware. So there's quite a number of ways in which people can disrupt your cloud and data center type services, right? So what we're saying is, when you move to the cloud, public or private, that does not mean that security becomes a third party's concern. It still remains your concern as an organization. And there are key areas that we can actually come in to support you and make sure that we are protecting your business in a significant way, right? So if you look at our key products, things like the FortiWeb, the ADC, and so on and so forth, these are meant to secure your crown jewels, your servers, your infrastructure that is sitting within your organization, and people are getting access from the outside world, right? So a key focus for us, and a key area that I think most organizations need to be paying special attention to as they push forward their transformation. I would like to take a special mention here for email, because email has been one of the most used attack vectors since, I think, the blossoming of the internet. Because again, it appeals to our nature as human beings, because we want to always communicate, right? So when someone sends you an email, it doesn't matter how weird it is, your first instinct is to try and see whether you'd be interested, or maybe should I really open or should I not open this particular communication or this particular email, right? So as a result, we have seen a significant push. You know, people are coming in and are using email as a way of compromising organization in a significant way. So let's not leave, you know, our email communications, let's not leave our way of, you know, getting messages across the organization uncontrolled. You know, so we need to have these email security components and protecting our businesses going forward, right? So this is what it looks like. This is what our Fortinet security fabric, when sitting within your organization, pretty much does, right? We are protecting you end to end, whether it is through the zero trust or the security driven or the cloud. We want to make sure that at any one point in time where an attacker says, I want to compromise organization X using malware, we have the EDR solution, for example, to be able to protect you. Let's say I want to do a DDoS type attack to be able to protect, and to be able to deny service to critical you know, services and servers and so on and so forth. We have the FortiDDoS appliance ready to protect you against that kind of threats. Maybe say you have someone who wants to compromise your switching infrastructure, maybe come in there and have unfettered access to all kinds of areas within organization. We have the network admission control that is able to basically control who has access to that infrastructure, right? So it's a comprehensive, end-to-end security coverage, and I'm more than happy to see how we can, you know, dive deep with every organization on a case-by-case basis and see what, gaps are there to be filled. And before I close, there's something very important I wanted to highlight. We have an open ecosystem whereby we plug into other third parties, right? So we do not leave you hanging. For example, if you have solution from XYZ, we also find a way in which we can plug this back into our fabric and be able to support you in that particular space, right? So as we conclude again, it's important also to appreciate the human aspect of the cybersecurity controls. And that's why we are saying, can you please simply educate and train and have a fully skilled, not only the IT personnel, but also the people that are just engaging with our IT systems, our staff, the people who are engaging with us from time to time, you know, they need to be able to understand, what does it mean for me to pull an external hard disk, for example, from my house and plug it into the corporate, you know, servers or something of the sort. So that comes through education. And as Team Fortinet, we have put together a comprehensive training, path for anyone who is interested in moving forward. So we start off with the NSE 1 and 2, which is the foundational aspects, but you can go in as far as picking up the expertise when understanding the professional type certifications, the NSE 4, 5, 6, and 7. This now gets your IT team to a point in time where they can comprehensively manage your portfolio without struggling, without having any challenges. Remember, most of the times when you have all these kinds of breaches, a good percentage of those are a result of human error. So the more we train, the more we give people the skills and understanding of security, the more we create that culture, and the more we have the skill set to be able to manage the portfolio that we have, right? So I'll conclude by simply highlighting Fortinet's mission, which is to secure the people, the devices, and data everywhere. So it's very important for us to have this in mind. Team Fortinet is here to support you and work with you throughout your transformation journey and be that trusted security advisor for you as an organization. Thank you very much.